Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, one and all, to our Minggu Science Negara for Selangor State. Thank you so much for spending the time with us this afternoon. So for this afternoon, today's event will be the SEDA seat debate and discourse on renewable theme or renewable energy. The theme for today, so today's discourse, focuses on renewable energy options for the nation. So ladies and gentlemen, as you know, energy is a very, very important aspect of our lives. It has an impact on our society, on our economy, on our quality of life, and hence it is important for us to understand where it comes from, where it goes, and how do we actually make sure that it can be sustainable. With that is one of the reasons why one of our strongest strategic partners and supporters today is actually SEDA, our country's Sustainable Energy Development Authority. With us today, we are happy to announce that we have the Director for the Strategic Communications Division of SEDA, Mr. Roslan Ali Hassan, my apologies. Yeah. And on top of that, we also have the Assistant Director for the Strategic Communication Division, Mr. Ezwan Suwaji, as well as the Director for the Digital Services Division of SEDA, TS Hazril Izan bin Bahari. Allow me to actually introduce to you the speakers for today. The first speaker for today will be Mr. Alif Lukman Nasution from SMK Sri Bintang Utara. The second will be Putri Nuratika, also from SMK Sri Bintang Utara. The next is Miss Lam Meiji from SMK Perempuan Taman Betaling. After that would be Miss Lim Wei Sam from SMK Batulapan Kejong. And the fifth speaker will be Mr. Tiruyanam Tamirajas from SMK Batulapan Puchong as well. Now let me see. The criteria. The speakers will be judged on 5 aspects. The first, rationale and justification. Why would the topic of choice that the speakers have made be suited for the context at hand? Secondly, relevance to Malaysia. Why would it actually fit our country? How do they convince us that it is the choice? Thirdly, clarity and presentation. Are the arguments straightforward? Do some of the arguments, are all the arguments coherent? Or are they, they run counter to each other? Are the speakers within the time limit provided? As well as how well do the speakers respond to the questions posed? So these are the 5 main criteria. The first speaker for today, as mentioned earlier, will be Mr. Alif Lukman Nasution of SMK Sri Bintang Utara to tell us all about energy from biomass.
Thank you. So, hello everyone. Okay, so I'm going to talk about biomass. So many of us oppose the usage of biomass, but upon researching, it is clear why biomass is the sufficient power source that should not be ignored. And that's why today, I, Alif Lukman Nasution, will introduce to you the actual potential and the extent of this source that could be a life-changing alternative.
So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Gobinathan. Alright, please.
Okay, Mr. Alif, nice to hear your speech regarding this biomass. I'd like to check if biomass currently contribute what percentage of, if it is used it fully, take the full potential, how much percentage of the energy requirement of Malaysia can be met by biomass? And any statistics you can come up, or if Malaysia goes in full swing for biomass, what percentage of the total energy requirement in the future can be met by biomass? is any statistics available? I know it's a tough question. Okay, thank you.
I'm not sure about the statistic, but based on my knowledge, around like one biomass power plant can brighten up, gives out energy as much as one city.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to actually listen to the second speaker for this afternoon. She hails from the same school, and she will focus her arguments on the use of geothermal energy for our country. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Ms. Putri Noratika. Over to you.
Thank you to the moderator. Peace be upon you, Tashahau Banagam. And today my topic is geothermal energy, as everyone knows. Okay. So basically, when you hear the word geothermal, what pop up in your mind first? For me, myself, I would say volcano. So in our country, basically, we rarely listen about volcano eruption. Not even rarely. It's just we don't even listen about volcanic eruption that happened in our country, and we're lucky to have that. Unlike our neighbor countries such as like Philippines and Indonesia, we seldomly or oftenly hear that volcanic eruption happened to them and they have to evacuate to other places. But do we know that volcano actually such a powerful thing to the entire world itself? So geothermal energy is a heat derived within the subsurface of the earth. Water or steam carry the geothermal energy to the Earth's surface. As we know, water, our planet is 78% filled with water, if I'm not mistaken. And geothermal energy can be used for heating and cooling purposes or be harnessed to generate clean electricity.
Sorry. So perhaps you want to introduce yourself and then...
Hello, I'm Puying. So I'm Puying. I'm actually a graduate engineer currently. And my question towards you is, you talk about all good about geothermal energy. So far, have you found anything bad about geothermal energy? You talk about all benefits, but what about the disadvantages? Apart from Malaysia not having geothermal energy, we look at the bigger picture where around the world. Because you know, in Indonesia, actually it's one of the biggest, actually it is the biggest geothermal energy producer in the world. Yeah.
Okay, so we all know it's common for everything in the world to have pros and cons itself, from the carbon footprint itself or anything. Okay, for me, I found something about the negativity of this geothermal energy is that earthquake might happen because of the surface of the air. It is ruptured by the drills to make the wells. So earthquake might happen. Maybe there's a lot of cracks on the earth's surface. It might change the plate. It might change the surroundings itself. It might also give impacts to the people living there. Maybe there will be radiation through the chemicals.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, let us now hear the third speaker present her thoughts, her beliefs on the way forward with solar energy. This is Ms. Lam Mei Chi from SMK Perempuan Taman Betari. Over to you.
Okay, so hi, my name is Mei Chi, so I'm from SMKP Taman Betari. So first, may I know, do you know what actually is solar energy is? Solar energy, it might be sounds like complicated, but it's not, because it had already come to our life, just we didn't have realized it or discovered it. For example, that solar energy is calculator, like portable calculator. I trust that you all see before that calculator have the one rectangle piece on the corner, right corner or left corner. So actually it's like, it just converts the light energy to change it to electric energy and mix the device.
Question. Could we have a question from the audience pertaining to solar energy? Anyone? Oh yes, please, join us. Join me up front here. Perhaps you want to introduce yourself and then pose the question to Ms. Lam.
Islam, my name is Cairo. So you mentioned on solar, awesome technology. Most of like MC mentioned, each energy has its limitation and also its benefits. Solar being under something that is suitable for Malaysia because of our position, that's why SEDA, it's part of the government's initiative. You mentioned, our MC mentioned there's some limitations probably on the field. If young people tend to be creative and think outside the box, so I'm gonna ask you, what are limitations that you know of solar, and in your reading or in your finding out information, have you found people trying to explore solutions to these limitations for solar? If you know of any challenges in technology or in adoption, making people adopt more solar. So if you are familiar with the challenges, have you found or came across some people, hey, some universities are doing this? If you found it.
Okay, actually, we knew that a few years ago, there have one challenge is about the solar car, right? Because solar car, why the people don't want to buy a solar car is because they're expensive.
Okay.
And they also, it's not only expensive, and it only can fit 2 people, which is very limited. So like everyone feel like it's quite rude to like buy the car. Instead, like why I need to buy the solar car? Why not I just buy the maybe like I can fix like 6 people for my family members. So there are still like found the research that how that actually solar can bring to the technology like cars or trains.
And the fourth speaker will be talking about the context of wind energy for the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, next we have from SMK Batu Lapan Puchong, Miss Lim Wei Sam. Over to you.
Okay, hi, my name is Lim Wei San, and I'm from SMK Batu Lapan. And today I'm going to talk about wind energy. So in Malaysia, wind energy and also solar energy are considered as a clean energy source because it does not involve the combustion of any fossil fuels or any coal, which will result in carbon.
Yes, the wind person, because you need the wind to fly your roads. Yes, please join us. Introduce yourself.
I
As one of the directors.
am William from Stanford. I'll just ask you an unqualified question. Basically, we live in very close to the equator.
Yeah.
So that means our wind is very unreliable because we have a lot of localized weather here. So how do we harness the wind in these areas? When you go up north or you go down south, you can depend on strong winds. But in our climate in this area here, how do we harness the winds?
You mean in Selangor area? Or
No, I mean in our region in Malaysia. How do we catch the winds? Because of the idea that we live in the so near the equator that we get so much of uneven weather patterns, I would say.
One day the wind goes this way, then
Yeah,
it goes this way, then it goes this way.
if I put the wind vane, which way am I looking at? Or sometimes, sometimes there's no wind at all, and it's so hot and humid.
But first, we need to identify which region has the greatest wind potential. Like maybe in the east coast, like
good point.
Pulau Terengganu, Sabah, and we also need to look into the aspects of the surroundings. Make sure that there's no distractions, to ensure that the surface is smooth.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, let us move on to our today's final speaker for the day. He will talk about hydropower and its relevance to our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for SMK Batu Lapan Puchong's Tiruyanam Kamirajas.
Okay, hello and good evening to everyone. My name is Triyanam Alhagi Amiraja. I'm from SMK Batu Lapan and I'm going to present about hydropower. So when we're talking about hydropower, the word hydro means water. That means the system uses water to function and generate electricity. And hydropower is not something very new to our country. It is really really established in our country, because we can see about small hydropowers in certain rural areas that can give electricity to a certain region of, and newly established in Sarawak, the latest one I've read before.
My name is Lisa Im. I'm a chemistry teacher. Okay, thank you for your presentation just now. So here I would like to ask questions about your topic, hydropower. Okay, just now you talk about a very good value about using the hydropower. So I would like to ask one question. How do you relate the benefit of hydropower to Industrial 4.0, the IR 4.0? Do you think any contribution to IR 4.0?
It could be beneficial, because hypothetically we can create ideas that can be used in that matter. I can't really tell a specific answer, because it's just our theory of creating new ideas. So there is a chance that can be the hydropower can be used in that.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the speakers' slots, so to speak. So while we wait for the adjudication, or rather educators, to actually complete the scores, we will actually take a short break, about 5-minute break, before we come back online to actually share and find out who is the best speaker for today. See you guys, or see you ladies and gentlemen in a minute.